PDP, Abba Moro, has hinted at the possibility of Peter Obi and ex-President Goodluck Jonathan returning to the party and joining the presidential race. Senate Minority Leader Abba Moro, while speaking on television, answering questions from Shehu Okimbaloye, disclosed that talks are ongoing over a possible return of the duo to the main opposition party. When asked about the possibility of ex-President Jonathan returning to the PDP, Senator Moro of Benue South said some persons are talking to the former president to come and run. It is a possibility. Things been treated. On his part, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani has directed that every necessary support be extended to the train passengers to minimize the impact of the unfortunate incident. Sani also ordered the immediate treatment of any injured persons as well as provide emergency psychosocial support to them. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau (NSIB) has commenced a probe into the Abuja-Kaduna train that derailed in Kaduna, triggering panic among passengers. The incident occurred along the Kaduna corridor shortly after the train departed Abuja en route to Kaduna. A passenger on board the train described the scene as chaotic, with people scrambling to safety in fear and confusion. In a statement, NSIB's Director of Public Affairs and Family Assistant Bimbo Oladeji said preliminary report indicates that 6 passengers sustained injuries with no fatalities recorded. The Bureau said it has dispatched a team to collect evidence, liaise with stakeholders and investigate the circumstances surrounding the incident. It quoted the NSIB Director General Alex Bade Jr. as expressing sympathy for those affected. The Bureau stated that investigation will examine both direct and underlying factors contributing to the derailment to issue recommendations to prevent a future incident. Updates will be provided as the investigation progresses. NSIB also extended support to all passengers impacted by the incident. Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) has embarked on a nationwide protest to highlight what they described as the federal government's persistent neglect of its long-standing demands. At the University of Jos, members of the union staged a demonstration before addressing journalists, where they announced their outrage rejection of the recently introduced Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund loan scheme. ASU branch chairperson Joseph Melrose said the initiative was not a solution but a deliberate attempt to push lecturers deeper into financial hardship. According to him, the loan scheme was nothing but a poison chalice designed to impoverish university lecturers and teachers rather than address the reality of the economic situation. He argued that lecturers do not need loans but rather the payment of the legitimate entitlement that the government has failed to honor. At the University of Lagos, ASU members who joined the nationwide protest demanded better treatment of lecturers and the education sector. The placard-bearing lecturers demanded the federal government's payment of arrears, improved welfare, and negotiation and renegotiation of the 2009 FG ASU agreement. It is now time for us to join Nkami and John from our Abuja studio for more news.
Thanks for staying with us. These are the latest developments from the nation's capital. I am Nkami and John. The Federal Capital Territory Administration has promoted 49 deputy directors to the rank of director across various departments. The promotion exercise followed the approval of Minister Nyesom Wike after the release of results from the first ever computer-based promotion examination held on August 12, 2025 at the National Open University Dutse Alaji Study Center in Buhari. According to Lere Olayinka, the exercise was conducted to clear promotion arrears from 2023 to 2025 for officers on grade level 16. Chairman of the FCT Civil Service Commission, Emeka Eze, said the newly promoted officers will fill 49 out of 63 declared the accountant cadre with 9, while cadres such as civil engineering, social welfare, tourism, fisheries, and medical officers each had one officer promoted. The Health Services and Environmental Secretariat of the Federal Capital Territory has entered into a private partnership to expand telemedicine as part of efforts to strengthen healthcare delivery in Abuja. Mandate Secretary Adedolakbo Fawashi said the initiative would improve doctor-patient relationships, promote confidentiality, reduce patronage of quacks, and help prevent avoidable deaths. She disclosed this during the signing of a memorandum of understanding with MobiHealth, a telemedicine startup aimed at bridging healthcare gaps in the FCT. Fawashi explained that the partnership, which began a year ago, aligns with the renewed hope agenda on healthcare, ensuring accessible, affordable, and quality medicine services for residents, particularly at the grassroots. Former Inspector General of Police Mike Okiro has successfully resolved long-standing divisions within the South-South community in the Federal Capital Territory. The community had been torn apart by internal disputes and leadership tussles, threatening its unity and progress. According to Okiro's media aide, Supreme Ibitomi, the former police boss used dialogue and his wealth of experience in conflict resolution to reconcile stakeholders, restoring peace and fostering renewed brotherhood. He noted that Okiro's intervention reflects his legacy as Police Inspector General when he pioneered the amnesty program that helped end youth restiveness in the Niger Delta. Ibitome added that the achievement once again highlights Okiro's capacity to unite communities and drive development. 6 passengers sustained injuries when a train derailed at kilometer 49 between Kubwa and Assam Station along the busy Abuja-Kaduna corridor. The Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau confirmed that a GOATS team has been deployed to the site to gather evidence, engage stakeholders, and analyze data to determine the cause of the accident. Director of Public Affairs Bimbo Oladeji said no lives were lost and assured that passenger safety remains the Bureau's top priority. Eyewitness described scenes of panic as at least 2 coaches overturned with women and children scrambling to safety. Viral videos showed shaken passengers climbing out of the derailed coaches. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, in a statement signed by its spokesperson Callistus Uyimadu, confirmed the incident, apologized to passengers, and said the derailed train was later marshaled to Kaduna. Emergency teams, including security and medical personnel, were swiftly deployed to manage the scene. NRC said it's working closely with investigators even as concerns grow about the safety of the Abuja-Kaduna trail line, which has recorded multiple derailments this year. Those are the latest developments in the nation's capital. I am Nkamian John.
You're currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll quickly go straight to our analysis segment where I have Kingsley Chime, a legal practitioner and current affairs analyst, joining us. Good morning, Barrister Chime. Thank you very much for joining us on the News at 12. Good morning, Brad Sachime. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Solomon, and thank you for having me.
Okay, it's afternoon. I said morning. Sincerely apologize for that. Let's go straight to our first talking point, which is on politics, obviously, where Senate Minority Leader Abba Moro speaking on television while answering questions from Shenwo Kimbaloyi disclosed that talks are ongoing over a possible return of Peter Obi and former President Goodluck Jonathan back into the PDP field to contest for the 2027 election. What do you think of that revelation?
Well, politicians would always come up with permutations, especially given the circumstances and political development at every point in time. This is not the first time issue of what is named President Jonathan coming back to politics after he lost the election to President Mohammed Buhari over 10 years ago. So each succeeding elections, they always come up with these permutations that he's coming back and test again.
But this is not. But this is not. This is not. Hello, sir. This is not a permutation, though. This is the Senate Majority Leader Abba Moro, a PDP stakeholder, bringing out, giving us this revelation that Peter Obi and there's a talk for Peter Obi and Goodluck Jonathan to come back. Well, he didn't confirm if they are coming, but he said there is a talk going on at the background.
That's what I'm saying. We are saying the same thing. I use the term permutation because we have not heard from the horse's mouth. We've not heard from Jonathan, neither have we had any confirmation from Peter Obi. So I was trying to give a background before I address the issue. So much as these talks may be ongoing, my point is that this is not the first time this issue is being thrown into national discourse, especially during election period, electionary arrangement. So the talks may be ongoing, but whether that will play out at the end of the day is another ball game. And if you recall that since Jonathan left office, he hasn't been into mainstream politics. He has, even when there were allegations or confirmations in the past that he is coming to contest, even during the second term of late President Muhammadu Buhari, and even leading to the 2023 election. So that story has always come up at every point in time. But the point is that is Jonathan willing to take that challenge, and what are the options for him or the challenges he's going to face in the circumstance? Because a lot of things have changed. It is no longer 2015 or prior to 2015. So he has a lot of forces to contend with. Before 2019, Peter Obi wasn't in the mainstream, as he became in 2023. So if Jonathan is considering coming on board, and Peter Obi is also considering coming on board, I don't even understand the rationale for Peter Obi to even begin to consider coming back to PDP and even Jonathan. Because if you recall, Peter Obi is a very good friend of Jonathan. I do not think in any election that both of them will stand against each other. That is my own personal
but Jonathan,
I don't think they will stand against each other.
Jonathan is also a very good friend of the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So,
well, that may be on politics level, but on a personal level, I know as a fact that Jonathan shares more friendship with Peter Obi than he shares with the current president. But the point here is this: Peter Obi, prior to 2019, Peter Obi was in PDP, and he left PDP to join the party. There are also talks or emerging story that is also in talks with the coalition group, the ADC. So all of this will always come up. But we all have to wait and see how all of this pans out at the end of the day. I do not see the possibility of Peter Obi coming back to PDP, especially when people like former governor of Rivers State and current minister of STC is still in PDP. Of course, we all have seen his antecedents during the last election. where his loyalty lies, even though he seems to or continues to claim that he's still in PDP, while his body and soul, and he currently works with the current political party. So I do not think how that is going to play out. Although I said that either Jonathan or PDP want to come out and embarrass themselves, because it appears that PDP, as it currently is, has been hijacked by a few political gladiators and will trade it for anything that will favor their own interest. Over time, former Minister of FCC has indicated that his loyalty lies with the current administration and will continue to support him. So I don't know what PDP, the remaining PDP governors are up to, whether they want to, they have the power to push Wiki out of PDP for them to regain control and be able to, fight it on during this next election. Well, given the current situation, I do not see the possibility of these two gentlemen coming on board under PDP to contest against the current ruling, where Wiki is still playing the chess game, where he belongs to both parties at the same time. And at every given point, his loyalty is what determines where his interests lie.
But do you think the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, still have the clouds to all the weight to pull good number of votes if it comes back to PDP, considering we have rising stars like Peter Obi on board?
Unfortunately, I do not see the possibility of Jonathan pulling any way different from what he garnered in 2015. In fact, at this point, he's going to have a diminished support.
Not with people regretting, voting him out, and the current situation with the APC and the Muhammad Buhari administration, and currently the President Tinubu administration. You think that still wouldn't favor him?
No. The only thing that will favor him, the odds that are in his favor currently, is the fact that he doesn't have to promise anybody that he's coming to do one term. At least for northern groups who are also keen to ascertaining the possibility of any Southerner coming on board or replacing Tinubu to contest for one term. But given his own antecedent that he had been the president before, so he has 4-year term which he cannot go again. So that may be what will favor him. But those odds that are in favor, is only.
No. Hello? Well, looks like we lost him. Let's see if we can get him back. You're still on to the news at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. You're welcome back, Barrister Chime.
Thank you so much. So sorry, I went off. Yes.
Okay, so last question on that talking point. Peter Obi is, we really don't know where he is right now. The coalition in ADC is probably not what he expected, considering the ambition of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And don't you think he should reconsider going back to PDP, or probably see how he can re-strengthen the Labour Party, when you also consider the Labour Party is even in a worse situation than the People's Democratic Party right now?
Well, we shall be outcomes, benefits him more. But I do not think, in my view, that going back to PDP would give him much larger support, in view of the fact that he just left PDP in 2019, and PDP, of course, has seen what he's capable of doing, given the number of votes that he secured. Within few months, he left the party. So they are beginning to reckon that he's someone that can be a benefit to them. On the other part, looking at Labour Party and what it has become after the last election, it also appears that other political parties or people who are working for other political parties has also infiltrated this political party and making it difficult for the party to be united and put a common front. So, but my view essentially is that as the development is emerging and politics is evolving, maybe time will tell which of the options people is likely to take. I won't be the one to take that decision for him. But if I'm to make an informed opinion, I would think that he stands a better chance with the current political party, which is the Labour Party, if they're able to work together and be able to control all those external influences that are undermining the political party.
Now, to a second talking point, Amnesty International has condemned the federal government, that's the Nigerian authority, for what it called the relentless harassment and prosecution of Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist and Sahara Reporters publisher. What do you think of that Amnesty International's report?
Well, it appears that Omoyele Sowore has become one of the most prosecuted individuals in Nigeria in recent time. Sowore have been going in and out of court for the past 8 to 10 years. Even as we speak, I think there's a matter going on currently at the Federal High Court where he's been accused of cyber crime and all related offenses. But given this development, like someone rightly pointed out this morning, that throughout the media battle against military dictatorship, and the police and SSS under their Babangida and Abacha juntas did not approach the court to freeze the account of media houses. They shut down. They never did that. Rather did they use such security to begin to hoodwink and hunt their opponents. You know, so it is so disheartening, you know, and disturbing that the current IG has taken such an unprecedented, you know, step in a democracy against Sowore and his media organization. Why he has not taken such step against someone like Bello Toji, who was reported as the terrorist rampaging the northern part of the country. Has the police filed any similar action against him for terrorism financing? Answer is no. So why is the IGP usurping the powers of the NSA, which is National Security Advisor, or even the EFCC, by going to court, accusing Sowore and Sahara Reporters of terrorism financing and money laundering? You know, who does not know that this is just a personal vendetta? This is my view. It's a personal vendetta couched illegally, especially given the battle Sowore is constantly waging against the current IGP. You know, so if, for instance, there is any justifiable reason to freeze an account of an organization, an individual, isn't it proper that such individual organization be put on notice for them to respond? You find an expert order and freeze someone's account, an organization which is an agent different from the individual, and you are accusing the person of terrorism, financing, and money laundering. So this is a classic example of witch hunting, in my view. Of course, not be held in the constitutional democracy like we claim we practice in Nigeria.
Now, of all the charges he's facing, obviously you've mentioned terrorism financing, which is huge considering we keep hearing time after time, starting from the Muhammadu Buhari administration, that I have a list of people financing, list of people and individuals and companies financing terrorism in Nigeria. And up to now, that list have not been made public. And if information is anything to go by, the list have been transferred to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration. We've not heard anything, and out of the blue, you're hearing Omoyele Sowore being accused of terrorism financing. Do you believe for a second that his name is on that list? And what happened to the other names on the list?
That is what I call witch hunt. I mentioned it earlier that Sowore is one of the most investigated individuals in Nigeria. So at what point did the police wake up to decide that there is a likelihood of Sowore or his media organization being involved in terrorism, financing, and money laundering? When Sowore is constantly in and out of court, his passport is only being seized. He's always being detained from one police division, formation to the other. So at what point did you get an accident and investigate, proper investigation